Hello everybody, it is Mr. Ensminger here with another lesson in Python programming. This week we are going to be talking in depth about the if statement. As I probably mentioned in class multiple times at this point by the time you're watching this. In my opinion, the if statement is the most important command in programming. It's how we have the computer make decisions. And so in class you're going to be learning several different parts of the if statement, and this is just a video to enhance that knowledge. The if statements I'm going to show you in this video are a little bit more advanced. So let me just begin here. We're going to be talking about if statements with compound expressions. And then we're also going to be talking about the and or keywords. So let's say you have something that has to be between, let's say, 1 and 9. Is a number between 1 and 9? Okay, so, a pretty common type problem. So when you write this in math, you would do something like 1 less than equal to, and again, of course, as I probably mentioned in class, the less than equal to sign is less than equal to. And then you have the variable. So num, less than equal to 9, right? So in math, you would have, if you remember this from middle school, a filled in circle, meaning include both 1 and 9, and then everything that comes between them. So now what we'll do is we'll add an if statement to that. And can you write that? Yes, you can in Python. Now I will mention that statement is not universal. Most programming languages will not let you do that. And that's where I'll go with some of my next stuff. But there, again, we're saying if the number is between 1 and 9, we'll print the number is between 1 and 9, something like that. So then we'll go back up here. Num equals int input. Please enter a number. And notice I'm not saying like enter a number between 1 and 9 because I don't know. That's kind of the whole idea of the if statement. So if I try this, save this as compound if with and or. It's quite the file name. Save that. Please enter a number. So if I type in 5, the number is between 1 and 9. And what happens if I were to run this and type in, let's say, -4? Nothing happens because the if statement doesn't trigger because it doesn't make that a true statement. All right. With these compound, expressions, you would want to make them in a way that mathematically would make sense. You wouldn't want to do something like if 1 is greater than or equal to the number, but less than or equal to 10 or something like that, because you want to make something that's possible. You can't have a number that is both less than 1 and greater than 10. Like, you can't think of a number that's the case. There is no number that's both less than 1 and bigger than 10. It's never a true statement. So the only time you'll do one of these compound statements would be when it's going to be something from this to this, for example. So again, at this place 1 to 9. So let's say you have a letter grade. You would type in something like grade equals int input, please enter your numeric grade, something like that. We could say if 93 greater than or equal to grade less than or equal to 100. Did I say greater than or equal to? I meant less than or equal to. Sorry if I misspoke. So if grade is between 93 and 100, print excellent. You earned an A. Something like that. So true statement, it's between two values. So that'll come up, pretty frequently. So that's how you do that. I mentioned earlier in the video that this does not carry over to many programming languages. Basic, C++, Java, all the other languages we do. In fact, in my entire career, I don't believe any other language lets you do what I just did there. Is that super important for you right here and right now? No, of course not. But there are words that are universal, and that's what I have up top, the keyword and the keyword or. I can do those same commands, those same if statements, using the word and. And this is perfectly fine in Python, but also universal in all the other languages. If I do something like this, if I say if 93 less than or equal to grade and you see when I type the word and, it turns orange. Grade less than or equal to 100. So, in that circumstance, is that longer than what I just typed the line above that? Yeah, of course. I mean, it's, if you type in the grade there, it's going to trigger both of those if statements. The first one, the one that I have up here, and I don't know why I just pointed my finger to it, like you guys can see where I'm pointing. You probably want to do that one because, well, it's shorter. Like I said, this is more universal though, and there's also things that I can do with the keyword and. So let's talk about those things. So the keyword and. The way this works, it's used in your Boolean expressions. And of course, we would have mentioned at this point when you're watching this video, we mentioned in class, the word Boolean, of course, means something that's either true or false. So a Boolean expression would be your equals, your not equals, your less than, greater than, and all that stuff. The keyword and is used in Boolean expressions to join two or more true-false conditions together. Something like x equals 0 and y equals 0, or the line above, grade bigger than 93, less than 100, something like that. The word and will be true only when each of the statements joined together are also true. So here's how this works. Again, let me just do a simple example. If I have something like x equals 5 and y equals, 8. Let's do a statement here. Let's say if x is greater than 0, so x is positive, and y is greater than 0, print both numbers are positive. So if you look at that, x is 5, check, it's positive, y is 8, check, it's positive, so that will trigger because both of those are true. I can also add another one to that if I wanted to. I could say, let's add on z. Z is equal to -2, let's say. Well, if I add on and z is greater than 0, and I say, all of the numbers are positive, x is positive, y is positive, but z is not positive. So therefore, that entire statement fails. It becomes false because just one of those statements has to be false for the whole thing to fall apart. And it's one of those things where, if you read what you're saying there, it makes sense. The word and, just like in English, when you're doing it in programming, they all have to be true. This is true, and this is true, and this is true. If only one of those is false, the whole thing falls apart. And you can chain together as many of those things as you'd like, and so on. But again, if even one of those is false, the whole thing's false. Okay. So what about the keyword or? So again, much like up top, the keyword or is used in Boolean expressions. I won't repeat myself. But when using or, all or any of the expressions may be true for the entire statement to be true. Okay, so let's say I have the same x, y, z, and I'll do another if statement. If x is greater than 0, or y is greater than 0, or z is greater than 0, print at least one of the numbers is true. And again, if you say it out loud, x is greater than 0, or y is greater than 0, or z is greater than 0. Well, two of those are true. X and y are both positive. Z is negative, but that doesn't matter because now you're using the word or, and you're saying, oh, well, this one's positive, this one's not, but that's okay. So with and, everything must be true. With or, they can all be true. One of them can be true, two of them can be true, and it won't matter simply because you only need one to be true. So that's the and the or statement. The final thing I'll show you would be, you can mix and match these, but you have to be a little bit careful because just like addition and multiplication have order of operations, the and the or also have order of operations. So let me give you an example. Let's say we do something where instead of variables that are numeric, let's use Boolean variables. Let's use variables that can be set equal to true and false. So I will say something like teacher equals true. And notice that when I capitalize true, T for true, it turns yellow. That's a known word. That's a keyword. So the variable teacher is set to true. It's basically saying like almost like a check mark. Teacher, yes. How about I say something like resident, meaning like I live here in Mechanicsburg. Resident is true. But then I say something like vegan is false. I am not vegan. I just ate some delicious chicken tenders. All right, so let's join these together with some ands and ors. So if teacher double equals, because remember, you want to say double equals, true, and resident equals true, or vegan double equals true. Okay? So, again, when you read those and you think about it, what things tie together? Does and act like a plus or a times sign? So when I read this, if the teacher is true and the resident is true or the vegan is true, is the or tied to this and this is separate? Well, the thing is, just eliminate any kind of guesswork. Use parentheses. Meaning, if I put parentheses around this, you're saying if the teacher's true and both of those other things are true, right? So like either the resident's true or the vegan's true. So let me just put it, because I'm just putting a bunch of nonsense here. The if statement is true. Okay, so if I run that, is it going to print or not? The answer is, after I do some other stuff, it says the if statement is true. And the if statement is true because if you go through, that's true. For and, they both have to be true statements. So this whole thing here has to be a true statement. Vegan, that was not true. But we have the word or there. So because this is true, that makes the whole thing true. So you have a true statement, so the whole thing is a true statement. Okay. Now, if I change this to and, the fails because vegan equals false. So again, just eliminate any kind of guesswork. Make sure you put in parentheses when you're mixing and or. It just eliminates any ambiguity in that. So, in this one, you have those two together, and then that one's separate. So, like I said, it really is just a question of when you're making these statements, and again, like my statement here is sort of silly and nonsense. But I think you get the idea. Anytime you have something separated by and or, it is something that is either true or false. With and, they all must be true, and with or, any of them can be true. So we'll talk more about this in class. Thanks. Have a good day.